fiscal year authorized under Texas Local Government Code 363 is designed to support community-focused crime prevention efforts. The district is funded by a quarter-cent sales tax, and all revenues must be used exclusively for crime prevention programs and services. The Crime Control and Prevention District is created and authorized only if the district and sales tax are approved by a majority of the qualified voters, and it is considered a separate legal entity. The district is also governed by a board of 7 members, which is currently the voting members of the City of Coppell City Council. The board is also required to propose a budget, hold a public hearing, and adopt a proposed budget that is presented to the governing body, the Coppell City Council. So CCPD is being accounted for as a special revenue fund in the financial records of the city. A special revenue fund is one that is used to account for and report the proceeds of specific revenue sources. The quarter-cent sales tax that is used for revenue in this fund is restricted and committed to expenditures for a specific purpose. Now I'll cover the history of the CCPD. It was established by voters' approval in November of 2007, with collections beginning on April of 2008. It was reauthorized in 2013 for 10 years, and it expired in April of 2023. Most recently, voters reauthorized the district on November 2022 for another 10-year term. This extended until April 2033. The next reauthorization vote must occur on or before November of 2032. And so this concludes the brief review of the history of the Coppell Crime Control and Prevention District.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll consider approval of the minutes for June 11, 2024. Are there any revisions to the minutes? Very well, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion from Mr. Nevels. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Prem Kumar. All in favor?
Hill, Walker, Matthew, Carroll, Beckles, Prem Kumar. None opposed.
Thank you. We'll now have a review of the Crime Control Prevention District budget for fiscal year 2025-2026 from Ms. Almendarez.
The total crime control and prevention district revenues are projected to be approximately $5.05 million for the next fiscal year. It's a 5% budgeted increase in sales tax revenue in fiscal year 26 proposed budget compared to fiscal year 25 adopted budget. Sales tax is the fund's primary revenue source and is estimated to be $4.1 million, or 81.7% of the total revenues. The remaining revenue is provided by a salary reimbursement from the Coppell Independent School District for the School Resource Officers Program, which is a total of $772,115, or 15.2% of the revenue. And interest earnings are estimated at $150,000, or 2.9% of the proposed revenues. And I would like to point you also to the page. If you can go to page 2 in your binder, and you can see the outlay there of the budget. And there's the first tab where it says CCPD. And now I will cover expenditures. The total crime control and prevention district expenditures are projected to be $4.4 million for the next fiscal year. Salary and benefits are $2.2 million, or 49.8% of the budgeted expenditures. This funds 15 positions related to the School Resource Officer Program and 1 civilian position, which is the Administrative Compliance Officer. Supplies are approximately $177,650, or 3.9% of the overall budget. Services total around $1.9 million, or 42.75% of the budget. This service category includes the payment to the North Texas Emergency Communication Center, NTEC, for dispatch services, which again is a joint venture with the cities of Carrollton, Farmers Branch, and Addison. Also included in services is the continuing contract with the city of Grapevine for jail services. And services also will include a reimbursement to the general fund for administrative services reimbursement, which is part of a cost allocation study, which requires reimbursements for services rendered from the general fund to CCPD. The transfer category constitutes $153,284, or 3.45% of the overall expenditures. This transfer is the capital replacement fund for the annual transfer of 1 year of useful life for vehicles previously purchased. If you go to the fund balance walkboard in the bottom of the page, it's presented beginning with
The projector just went out. Manny's back.
That was fast.
I'll tell you what, the response time around here is unbelievable.
I think it's your leadership at the helm of this meeting. You're getting stuff done, sir.
Oh, yeah, it's not me, it's staff as usual.
Is there, what is that, the thing that happens in the solar system that blows up? like-
Saturn
Solar
reservoir.
flare.
Solar
Solar
flares,
flare.
thank you.
There you
That's
go.
what's happening.
Yeah, you gotta watch those things.
But how did Manny know it's going out? He was like right there.
She's a bat phone.
He had a
There
sense.
it is.
Yeah, the
Spidey
disturbance in
sense.
the force.
Teams message.
The city of Coppell logo, like the bat signal, just goes up.
The hedgehog said.
Can I ask a question while we're doing that? On the positions,
Yes.
the terminal agency coordinator, we're dropping off to 0. Is that part of the NTAX expansion, or?
No, that actually is a, Chief, I'll defer that to Chief.
So that role civilianization, the one civilian position that's in there,
Oh,
the TAC is, we combine TAC with a bunch of other things for one civilian. So it's, he does TAC, but he also does a lot of other things.
so you just consolidated?
Yes,
Okay, great. Thank you.
And created a new position.
right. Yes.
Which is is that
The administrative compliance officer.
officer. You see right below it.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, cool.
So total employee count for that fund did not change.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay.
So now we'll go back to the fund balance walk forward, which is again in the bottom of the page. It's presented first, beginning with the fiscal year 24 actuals. Then the walk forward indicates that for the fiscal year 26, the ending fund balance is projected to be 27.2 million. In summary, the proposed budgeted revenues for fiscal year 26 are 5.05 million, and the proposed budgeted expenditures are 4.4 million. So this evening, we are seeking your direction on what would you like to see in the CCPD budget. This is your opportunity to provide us input and help shape the priorities for this upcoming year. In addition to the CCPD board has tonight the opportunity to hold a public hearing and vote to adopt the fiscal year 26 proposed CCPD budget. And this concludes the review of the proposed fiscal year 26 budget for Crime Control and Prevention District. At this time, I would be happy to take any questions. Yes.
Before, if you don't mind, the way the budget's set up is that we do have the full funding of the SRO program with the anticipated reimbursement from the school district. So that's why you see the $772,000 number. I have had a conversation with Sid Grant related to this option, knowing that last year the council chose not to pursue that reimbursement. Not knowing whether y'all were or were not, that's why you see the reimbursement in place.
Mhm.
In talking with Sid, while the state promotes what they did related to education funding, they did not significantly increase security funding for school districts. The school district's overall cost is a little over $1 million plus for security for the schools. They pay the Dallas County Sheriff's Department, I was going to say Irving, but I know that's not right. A little over, or close to, about $700,000. So they're about $300,000 short. I'm saying this the wrong way. They receive about $700,000 in funding. They pay the Sheriff's Department about $500,000 or so in terms of round numbers. These are all round numbers. And their costs are $1 million. So they weren't getting enough money for what it costs to provide security at the schools, given the other things. They're giving a little over half of it plus to, I say giving, they're contracting with the Sheriff's Department. So they're still short on funding just from security standpoint. That's the bottom line. They do not get enough funding out of the state to actually fund security, even though it's mandated by the state. I hope I didn't confuse y'all, and I apologize if I did. I was getting the numbers kind of mixed up in my head. There's no formal ask as it relates to something in writing from the school district. Sid Grant did just mention that he would appreciate the consideration of the council as you go through this CCPD budget. So that's probably the biggest ticket item as it relates to the impact on the budget. So if you were to do what you did last year, that would take the revenues down to roughly about 4.2, 4.3, and that would create a negative net of about $160,000 to the fund for this coming year, based on anticipated costs. From a compensation standpoint overall, as you know, we do an annual compensation analysis, and in the police and fire, public safety in particular, the market adjustment needed to be about 3% to stay in the market that we are in, plus they have their 4% steps as well. So that's funded in the CCPD program as well. Those are the two major items, I would say. The biggest being the school district.
Jim?
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
Couple of quick questions. The 700 in revenue recaptured, that's still 50% of our cost, is that right, or is that the whole amount?
That is 50% of what they do for the city and also for the school district.
Okay, so the reimbursement is 50%.
Correct.
And then the other thing, if I remember correctly, is it the police, is it body cams that we have a 5-year contract for, that we have to load the entire remaining contract into the budget? Am I thinking about that right?
That was actually in fiscal year 25 budget, so our current budget, we had the Axon contract, which was about 1.5 million, and that was all budgeted in fiscal year 25, so you won't see that in that line item.
It doesn't get carried over into this one?
It was encumbered carried forward.
Okay.
So it's already reduced fund balance, so when you look at the adopted 24-25, that ending 27 million, that has the Axon cameras removed.
Okay.
And then that's flowing forward.
Okay, I got it. So it's not in the new budget, but we will carry forward the remaining like that at the end of the year. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Mr. Kumar was next.
Thank you, Chairman Walker. Is there an ask from the PD or the staff? And thanks for sharing the 772,000 the school. In addition to that, is there an additional asks from the PD and the staff?
I'll defer that to Chief.
No, not this year.
Thank you.
Mr. Nevels and then Mr.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I had a question for Chief about, I know that we were working on staffing up the SRO positions. Are we fully staffed? Does every campus have an officer yet that is within the city limits of Coppell, or are we still working towards that goal?
No, we're, technically, we're 3 shy.
Okay.
We're trying to work something out with Big Free Place, because that only has about 4 to 6 kids in it at a time.
Okay.
But if you leave that out, we still have 2 campuses uncovered. When they, and what we used the 2 campuses that were next to each other, the Big Creek and Rocky Lake. Closing of Pinkerton put us 1 more closer, so we're technically 1, possibly 2 shy today.
Okay. And obviously, this is the budget, so we're budgeting for those positions to be filled, but just, I wanted to kind of see where we were in that process of actually staffing those positions. So thank you for that information.
Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Chief, I know the law requires, or my understanding is that we just need an armed person at the school, correct?
Correct.
And we are providing police officers to all the schools in Coppell boundary.
Yes, sir.
What about the ones in Cypress Water? I know the sheriff department is bringing their own people. Are they using sheriffs, or are they using just an armed person?
They're using deputies.
Okay. And maybe you don't know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask. Compared to our expenses or compensation to the sheriff, how are we matching up? Are we paying more for our officers than the sheriffs over there?
I don't know that, I don't know what they pay the sheriff's department. I know it's,
And can I'll just interject, the sheriff's department isn't in our they're not one of the comparative cities, so we wouldn't look at them, Mike.
No, but I'm interestingly enough, the new interim superintendent and I are meeting next week, so I can find out.
Okay.
Yeah. They reached out today.
Any other discussion? Mr. Carroll.
I'm going to recommend again, like I did last year, that we continue to support at the 100%. And the delta is smaller this year than it was last year. We have fund balance if expenses actually were this high, and it's still our community. This is one way we can contribute to the safety of our community, and that is exactly what this this tax source is for. So I would recommend that we continue to fund 100%, and I appreciate staff preparing it this way, because I think this is the right way to approach it. We have an agreement that we do 50%, and we look at this every year and see what our situation is, see what their situation is, and have the discussion. But I think we should continue on in supporting this year.
Councilmember Nevels.
Yes, I am in 100% agreement with Councilmember Carroll. I think it's, when you look at it, and we are looking at the safety and security of, I don't think of city facilities, I'm looking at the kids who attend school in the city of Coppell. I look at our police department as providing that safety and security for them as well. And so, while it is unfortunate that the state isn't providing direct funding to the school district through this sales tax, which, as you stated, is specifically designed for these types of programs, I think this is a very appropriate use of the funds, and again extends that safety and security just to more areas. So I'm in 100% favor of extending the, how would you say it, not expecting a reimbursement back from the school district.
Councilmember Prem-Kumar.
Thank you, Chairman Walker. I support Councilmember Carroll and Nevels in not seeking reimbursement for the $772,000 for the SRO officers.
Can I ask a question? Oh, yes, sir. You go ahead. Could you elaborate? No. Can I ask a question? So on the budget as proposed, is that sales tax number based upon our usual whittled down based on 3.334 collections. So it's going to be adjusted upward based on actual collections at the end of the year anyways?
That's correct. It is budgeted at with the goal in mind and also with the 5% growth assumptions.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay. This is a public hearing on the fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed budget for the Crime Control and Prevention District. Persons wishing to speak during the public hearing must sign the register and list their address. You'll be called to speak in the order you have registered. Public hearings are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. And we do have a gentleman that's signed up, Dave Schaff. And I will now open the public hearing for anyone that would like to speak.
I signed up for after the second budget, not for this.
Okay, that was what, we were trying to make sure we were on the same page, so I apologize. So, just for clarification,
I'm not speaking on this.
on the crime control district?
Hey, Brian.
Great.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Well, then we have no one signed up to speak, and we'll move on to the adoption of the fiscal year 2025-2006 budget for the Crime Control and Prevention District. Is there a motion?
So if you're removing the salary reimbursement, that needs to be included in your
Yes.
In your motion, correct.
Okay.
You want it? You want it?
Sure.
Take it.
Councilmember Carroll.
I move to close the public hearing and approve the budget as presented with the modification that the CISD salary reimbursement from next year's budget be removed.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Nevels. All in favor?
Bill Walker Matthew, Carol Neville, Frank Lamar, Amos Smith. None opposed, motion carries.
Very nice. We now move on to the critical issue of the election of president and vice president. I just want to thank everyone that supported me in this office during this meeting. It's been a great deal. Do I hear any nominations for president? Mr. Prem Kumar.
I'd like to nominate the current Vice Chairman, Brianna Smith, to be the president for next year.
Very well. Do I have any other nominations for president? Seeing none, all in favor of Brianna Hinojosa Smith as president?
She's here for this one.
Bill Walker Matthew, Carol Neville, Frank Lamar, Amos Smith. None opposed, motion carries.
Very good. And at this time, I would entertain any nominations for vice president. Councilmember Nevels.
I would like to nominate Councilmember Prem Kumar for vice president of this board.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, all in favor for Councilmember Prem Kumar as vice president of the Crime Control District?
Bill Walker Matthew, Carol Neville, Frank Lamar, Amos Smith. None opposed, motion carries.
There being no further business before the...
There is one more.
Oh,
More. We missed the calendar, so we're gonna,
Oh.
the budget calendar. We just want to cover this with you.
If you have a listing.
Very good. That was, you caught me right before I adjourned. The gavel was warmed up.
So in the screen, you'll see the next steps for the Crime Control and Prevention District. The next step will be on August the 2nd, when staff will place a notice in the newspaper that the council will hold a public hearing on August the 12th. Then on August 26th, there will be a public hearing on the full proposed operating budget, which includes the CCPD budget, followed by council's consideration of budget adoption. And that concludes the review of the fiscal year 26 calendar.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. There being no further business for the Crime Control and Prevention District, we are adjourned at 6:24 p.m.